Angry Guy here, and today I'm discussing expat life in the Philippines with MK Fitness. Over to you, MK.
What's up, guys? MK Fitness in the Philippines coming at you from the Philippines, Angeles City, Clark City, Balibago, Pampanga, and all the surrounding area. I'm repping the whole neighborhood. How's it going, angry guy?
Going good. So, you're over in the Philippines now. You've been over there for 3 months, and you actually were able to get into a relationship. You had someone waiting for you before you even got there. I mean, you're from the US, right?
Yes,
Okay. And I mean, let's just jump into it. So you have a lady. Is she fit, feminine, friendly?
she is all of the above. She is an amazing Filipino woman. Everything you've heard about the Philippine women is true. They love you, they take care of you, they respect you, they submit to you. They are just amazing women.
Okay. And what kind of? I mean, let's talk about the cost of living over in the Philippines. When I was living in Mexico, I was able to rent an entire house, two-bedroom house, for about $150 a month. It was pretty darn cheap. I mean, what kind of living expenses are you looking at?
Well, I have a two-bedroom apartment for 120 a month, but I always tell people if you can afford to live in the States, no matter what budget you have, you can afford to live in the Philippines. You can find something here that's going to accommodate your budget.
So you got over to the Philippines, and a lot of guys, they hear that the women over there are friendly, they're fit, they're kind, they're open, and they want you to actually speak to them. And in Western society, we've already been conditioned that if a woman's on the street, don't approach her, don't upset her, because you know because that's just how it is right now after the M2 movement. This is how things operate here. But in the Philippines, you can women actually want you to approach them, and there are no social repercussions for doing so, right?
Yes, that is true. They do. Either they will approach you, or some of them are really shy, so you do have to approach them. But yes, they are happy to for you to have a conversation with them as a foreigner.
When you first got over to the Philippines, did you feel a little bit apprehensive, talking to women based on your experiences in the US?
No, I got to talk to. I mean, they're very friendly. The Filipino people, men and women, are extremely friendly. So you can just talk to anybody on the street, any stranger you meet. You can just start a conversation with them and make a new friend.
Okay. Okay, but you would not do that in the US, of course.
No, no. I mean, I wouldn't want to. So
So what made you so comfortable and so willing to just jump right in and feel that? I mean, was it just such a different feeling in energy? Because I mean, when you got off the plane, what?
yeah, I think it's as soon as you get off the plane, you feel the atmosphere is different here. Like you get that sense of freedom, and it's just the way the women, like even women who don't know you, like say you're going to the mall or something, and it's like just some woman that works at the mall. They're very respectful to you. They really respect men here, even if it's not your girlfriend, even if she's a stranger, they still show you respect.
That's really insane. So you have your Filipina. She's fit, she's feminine, she's friendly. But if you decided to break up with her today, I mean, at this exact moment, how long would it take you to replace her?
Oh, I could just walk down the street and have find a replacement. Like I get a replacer on the by the time I get to the gym.
What?
Because I mean, girls will look at you when you're walking down the street. They will look. You'll notice them looking at you, and even if it's like a group of girls and you walk past them, they'll be giggling as soon as you walk past them, and they're talking about you. So
Giggling? That sounds like the 90s. That doesn't sound like 2023. Sounds like the 90s in the US. So it's like an entire different world over there right now. It's like going back in time.
yes, yes, it is. I mean, it is a lot like going back in time because the women they genuinely want to have they want to have a boyfriend. They like having a boyfriend.
Hmm. Tell me about how the Filipinos interact with men in terms of like their their energy? Do they come across as warm? Because I mean that they say there's this notion that Filipinos want to take care of you. They're very friendly. They're very agreeable. Let's talk about that.
Yes, they are, almost to the point that sometimes it can even be a little bit annoying. Like they submit to everything, whatever I want. Most of the time I don't even have to ask. Like she already knows what I need before I know I need it. So they're very intuitive. They learn you. They learn what your routine, things that you like, the kind of food you like, and then they'll make that food for you. They adapt to you.
Hmm.
So she knows my schedule. Like if I'm going to go to the gym at 8 o'clock in the morning, she'll have like my water ready for me, my gym bag ready, everything will be ready for me to go.
All right. So you're Filipina. She cooks and she cleans for you, right?
Yes. And she works too, by the way. She just started her job
Oh wow.
and she still does her wifely duties. And by that, I mean, baby making time.
Well, you haven't married her yet, right?
No.
Okay. Now, hmm, tell me a little bit about this, however. So, for example, you said that she does work, but what are the roles within the relationship? What are her expectations from you? I mean, how much does it actually cost you? In America, if you're in a relationship with a Western woman, they'll tell you anything less than $100,000 is not going to get you access, and a lot of women want more than that. What are the expectations from a Filipina?
Uh, I pay the bills, but she's working now because she doesn't want all the responsibility, of the bills, which I don't mind. I just let her go to work because she wants to go to work, but she wants to help out with the bills too. Other than paying the bills, I mean, I really don't spend that much money. I spend like $20 a day or something, $10 a day sometimes. Like as far financial expectations is just pay the bills and that's it.
So we were talking earlier. You said that your rent is about $120 a month. That gets you a two-bedroom apartment. Your internet cost is about $40. Your electricity is about $20. You're looking at right around $200 a month in overall bills for living
Yes.
costs. Okay,
Yeah. So
which is
that's a light bill for somebody in the States.
oh my goodness. And what about food? Like, how much do you spend on food within a month usually?
Well, I have to clarify that that one's kind of like because I'm not single, so I'm and my girlfriend's parents live with us as well. So food for me is a little bit more expensive than it would be for like a single guy, or if you have a Filipina and your her parents are not living with you, your food expense would be cheaper. So if you're single, you can eat for like $1 or $2 a day. So for me, my food expenses is maybe like uh $40 maybe per about $80 a month, I think. Probably like
What?
a hundred. We could just round it up to 100. I really
Wait. Let's take a step back. $100 a month for total food expenses for you, your Filipina, and her parents.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't even keep track of it because we go to there's like little markets so there's like grocery stores here, but they're like westernized. Obviously, the food there is more expensive. But if you have a Filipina girlfriend, she can take you to like a market, like a farmer's market, and you can get foods for like so cheap, like really, really dirt cheap. Like, so I'm actually saving a lot of money because I have her to help me, go to these places and purchase the food for me because if I purchase it, they'll charge me more just because like they know I'm a foreigner, but it still won't be that much more, but you can save a lot of money by going to the farmers market.
How's English over in the country? I mean, the Philippines is one of the largest English speaking countries in the world. I mean, have with people that you run into on a regular basis, does pretty much everyone speak English?
Yes, everyone speaks English. The only ones who don't speak, like just my girlfriend's parents don't speak English. So maybe if they're older, but if you know, pretty much everyone speaks English fluently.
Okay, fluent. So basically, if you're dealing with anyone pretty much under 40, they're gonna speak English.
Yeah. And I mean, the younger they are, the better their English is. And with my girlfriend, like, a lot of the jobs here are in call centers, so they have to learn English very well to deal with the customers. And like, I've never had to like dumb my language down for her to understand me. Like, I just talk the way I talk, and she understands everything. And we have very deep conversations too, so about
Wow.
everything.
So another thing I want to talk about is the hygiene of the Filipinas. So Filipinas have legendary hygiene. I
Yeah,
mean, like basically, it's said that if they can bathe three times a day, they'll bathe three times a day. And even toilet paper is not good enough for a Filipina. They have to be squeaky clean. So let me let's get into the nitty gritty. Is it true? Is it
that
true about their hygiene?
that is one thing I noticed when I first got here and met my girlfriend. That yeah, the hygiene is 100. They're always not taking a full bath, but making sure the baby making parts are clean. So yeah, the
Wow,
hygiene is pretty high over here.
wow, 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 wow.
I think her hygiene is better than mine. She's like, I'm gonna go take a bath. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed.
And since you've been in the Philippines, I mean, you've been spending time with your lady, but do you guys go out other than shopping? Do you go, where do you go for fun? What do you guys do together?
Well, the malls are kind of a big thing around here. Like, the malls are really nice. Everyone kind of goes and hangs out at the malls. So we go to the mall. We just go walk around a lot, and I like to walk around just for exercise because my channel is a fitness channel as well. What else do we do? We do go shopping. We even go out and eat. Like, she cooks all the time, but sometimes I still want to go like eat a hamburger or something. So we eat out. Um, we do everything you would do in the States. There's a movie theater here in the mall.
Are the movies in English?
Yeah, there's all English Western movies.
What?
Like, all the newest movies, whatever's coming out over there, it's coming out over here. So
Wow. It- So let's talk a little bit about the food. All right. First, let's talk about your Philippine.
oh, now you went out. Keep it
Yeah,
rolling. We're live. Okay, you're back.
yeah. So, so your Filipina. Let's talk about her food. Her cooking, and then the general food in the country. How is your Filipinas cooking? I mean, go ahead.
Well, the food is amazing. Like, I can't even just I don't have the words to describe how delicious the food is. It's actually hard to like not gain weight here because, especially for me, since I'm in fitness and trying to stay in shape, because the food is so good. And like I was saying before, your Filipino will learn you. She'll learn what you like, and then she'll incorporate that into the food that she makes to please you, to make sure you're happy.
Wow, 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 wow,
Like,
wow.
even last night, she made some food, and I didn't say I didn't like it, but she was like, "I don't think you like the food." So I bought something different for today. And I was like, it's not a big deal. I was like, yeah, it wasn't my favorite thing, but they really go out of their way to make sure you're happy, like really happy, especially with the food.
Okay, so you're currently living with your Filipina, your you're living with your and her parents, and you said that you spend about $100 a month to cover food costs for everyone, which is just absolutely
Mm.
ridiculous. What are the, I mean, what does it, what in America they expect a lot. Women expect a lot from men. I mean, how much do you think you actually spend on your Filipina in a month?
Honestly, I don't really. I tried to buy her a purse. She wouldn't even let me buy her a purse. I don't really spend any money. Oh, actually, I just bought a phone for her, but that's like the first most expensive thing that I've bought for her since I've been here. And like they don't really ask for anything, and they're just grateful just to have, like, if you're just paying the bills, they're grateful just for that.
What?
Yeah,
Holy,
I try to spend money on her, and she won't let me. So
that's amazing. That is absolutely
we just bought
amazing.
the actually we bought the phone because we wanted a better camera for my vlogging. So it's for her, but it's really for me. So even the phone is for me, but but I have like three phones, so I don't need three phones all the time.
Do you have any tips for guys how to avoid getting scammed in the Philippines by a Filipina? Because while it, there most Filipinos seem to be really lovely people, there are definitely people out there who would take advantage of you. What tips do you have regarding that?
Yeah, there's a few scammers, but in my experience, most of the guys that are getting scammed are just stupid, and they're putting themselves in situations that they wouldn't even put themselves in the West. So a lot of guys, they want to come out here and hang out with the bar girls. If you're hanging out in the bar with bar girls, you're probably going to get scammed. You're increasing your chances of getting scammed. And so I would say, just if you want to hang out and party, just be careful with that. The other thing is that if a Filipinas, some of them are, they're shy. So if she's being aggressive, that's usually a red flag that she's been around. You're not the first guy she's approached that night, and so if she's being too aggressive, that's a red flag. If it's a bar girl, be careful. And if she's just asking for money, Filipinas do not ask for money. They are so shy, and like they're so embarrassed about asking for money that even if they need it, they will not ask you for money. So if she's asking, it's probably scam because most of them won't ask.
So what if a
I'm sorry, repeat that. I lost you again.
yeah?
Okay, you're back.
What
Okay,
if
you're
she
back.
says, "Hey, can you put some money on my phone for me?"
If my girlfriend says that,
If a
or
Filipino says that,
I don't know. It depends. Like if you're in a long distance relationship, I don't. Um,
let's say you went to the Philippines and you
uh,
meet a Philippine and you meet a Filipina, and because this is something that they do in various countries. This is a tactic that they use in places
yeah,
like
yeah,
Thailand. So let's say she's asked you, if hey, could you put some money on my phone for me? And when I lived in Mexico, you could $10 a month, and that's a phone bill right there. And then,
yeah.
I mean, 100 pesos a month. That's five, which is $5. That's a phone bill right there. So what if a Filipina asks you to put some money on her phone for her, and it's like just like a small amount of money, how would you respond to that? Somebody that you just met.
I mean, if you just met her, I don't think I would do it because a good Filipina's not going to ask you for anything, especially if you guys just met. So that's probably another red flag.
Mhm. Okay. So asking you for money is a big red flag. Just going to the bar, meeting a girl at the bar, that's a red flag in and of itself. A woman who is pushy and aggressive, that's a red flag. Are there any other things you think that guys should look out for?
Um, she might have a Filipino boyfriend. So if she's a bar girl,
Ooh, that's a big one, bro.
yeah, so be careful because she might have another guy, or she might have another foreigner guy as well. So if she's a bar girl, this is what they do for a living. Okay, like this is their job. So they have maybe another foreigner who's back in the States that they're talking to on Facebook, and they're getting money from him. So just, you know, I'm not saying snoop around or check her phone, but if you see her like on the phone talking to somebody, just be careful with that too, because there are some Filipinos here that have multiple long distance relationships with
Mm-hmm.
foreigners. So you might not be the only one.
Mm. There
But
was this. Go ahead.
but you'll know if she's a good girl. I mean, she'll give you full access to her phone. She'll leave her phone out, and she'll give you the code if you want to snoop. I don't go through my girlfriend's phone because frankly I don't care. But uh, if she's a good girl, you'll have full access to her phone.
Hmm.
You won't even
Wow.
have to ask. You won't even have to ask. She just gave me the code to the phone.
Okay. Tell me, I want to ask about this. So, there was a story that happened. There was something that actually happened a while ago. There was it wasn't actually a while ago. It's just like recently, but a guy, a passport Joe, he married a Filipina, and she basically started putting.
You went out again.
Yeah, yeah. So she tried, she put bleach in his coffee, and she tried to delete him, and now she's been taken into custody in the United States, and she's being held. And there are some people who are justifying what she's done, and saying that, well, he had to have done something to her because a Filipino would not do something like that. Although I think I completely disagree with that, because people are people. Do you think that you know men are at risk when they go to the Philippines, because there's a lot of poverty in the Philippines, and that there are Filipinos that might have ulterior motives, and they might try to delete them?
Well, like I said, the men who are getting in trouble are putting themselves in bad places and bad situations. So it's most of the time their own stupidity. And I'm sure, like with this situation, there was probably some red flags way before that happened that this guy was probably ignoring with this particular Filipina.
One of the things that she actually did was she purchased a house in the Philippines for $200,000 prior to and prior to this happening. A house for $200,000. What
Uh,
will $200,000 get you in the Philippines?
you're like a bajillionaire here. I mean, you're rich. I mean, you could live. I don't know. You could retire probably with $200,000 in the Philippines.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, she that wasn't how much money she had access to, because she was going after his insurance. He had an insurance plan, a life insurance plan. They said, but she actually purchased a house for just 200,000. So that's a mansion over in the Philippines, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably that's going to be huge. Like more than a mansion. It's like a whole apartment complex, even bigger maybe.
Holy cow! Holy cow!
So yeah, there's just some red flags there. This guy has a lot of money, and she's having access to all his money. Like it already sounds like he's being stupid with his money by allowing her to have that much access to it.
Yeah, no, you picked up on that, and I didn't even think about that factor, because for her to spend $200,000, what American do you know has that kind of money to spend? And she probably did not come to the U.S. and suddenly make that kind of money. So
That's actually another red flag. So if she's asking you how much money you make, or like like a Western woman would do, like, oh, what's your job? How much money do you make? That's a red, because a Filipino woman, my girlfriend doesn't know how much money I have. Like she's never asked. Like I just tell her we have enough. So
have you learned any Tagalog?
I have not. Um, so I've been lazy about that because my girlfriend is so fluent in English. It's like I just don't have to.
Now, something interesting about the Philippines. So, if you get into a relationship with a woman in the Philippines and she has a child, it's something that I've come to learn. You cannot be alone with that child. Is that correct?
No, I haven't heard that. My girlfriend has a child, and we go walk around outside.
You walk
Uh,
around with just a child?
yeah, we go to the store, get some snacks. Also,
I think you, I think you need to look into that. It's actually illegal in the Philippines for a person who's not related to a child to be with that child. You should ask your Filipina
oh,
about.
well, there's a lot of laws in the Philippines that are not enforced. So
Okay, okay. So you've never been worried. You're a white guy, right?
yeah,
Okay, so obviously they know the kid's not yours, and you've never felt worried. You've never felt worried that you get in trouble being alone with that kid, right?
Nah, but there's kids everywhere. Like there's kids all running down the street all the time. So
I got you.
that's just one of those laws that's on the. There's no police here. Like there's not like I don't know. There's no police.
What really?
Yeah. So the stores will have like security guards, but I don't. I even asked my girlfriend. I was like, "What do you do if something happens? Like, how do you call the police? Like, there's no 911. You don't. I think you actually have to call the police station to send someone if you have an emergency or something. But there's no police. It's all like you're as far as the law goes, kind of on your own out here.
Okay.
It's self governed.
How much money do you think a person should bring with them? The bare minimum when moving to the Philippines.
The bare minimum, I would say probably like $10,000
Okay.
just to get started.
Okay. 10 grand, and once you're actually, I mean, how much did it actually cost you to fly over there?
I don't know how much it costs now because I know that the prices are going way up. But for me, my ticket was $900. That was a round trip ticket. So I still have my return ticket.
Uh,
But I think flights are between like 12 and 1500 on average.
like 1500.
Yeah, I think they're usually about 1200 or 1500 on average. I just got a cheap flight because I picked a day, like a time of year when it was just cheaper.
And is that one way or is that for round trip?
No, mine's was round trip, $900 round trip.
Holy cow! How many hours was the flight?
It's 15 hours, and then I had a 3 hour layover in Taiwan, and then like another hour and a half from Taiwan to the Philippines. So it was about 20 hours
Oh, Taiwan. Okay, so you had a layover in Taiwan, and then how long were you in Taiwan?
for like 3 hours.
3 hours. So it was. You said it was around 20 hours.
Yeah, the whole trip.
Okay, so how long? All right, so flying from the U.S. to Taiwan, how many hours was that?
15 hours.
15. Jeez. You flew coach, obviously, right?
Yes.
Okay. How did you handle that? Like being on a plane for 15 hours?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I think when you're coming over here, you kind of like you got the adrenaline, you got the excitement of knowing you're coming over here. So that kind of helps you get through the flight. And the flight was really smooth. Like I didn't, and I took Ava Airlines, AVA or EVA, and it's a great airline. They really take care of you on that plane. Like they feed you. The alcohol's free. You can drink as much as you want. Uh, I had a great time on the flight. I mean, yeah, it was a little bit uncomfortable, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Wow, 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 wow. That's when you got on the flight, did you see any other guys that looked like passport bros or what?
I saw guys that already had wives that like they had their Filipino wife with them, and I guess they were just coming back to the Philippines with their wives.
Okay. Were those guys was it like a mixture of black guys and white guys or more black guys and white guys? What did that look like?
It was mostly like some just older white guys.
Okay. And I mean, what do you see a lot of guys from the U.S. and Western countries in the Philippines with their Filipinas?
Oh yeah, there's like yeah, there's all everyone from all around the world is here. So it's not just the states. The men are from all over.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah,
I
they're walking down the streets with their Filipinas. It's like they're just like old fat guys, and they have like these really amazingly attractive Filipinas with them.
Jeez.
Young, very young, like 20s. My girlfriend's 26, so, and I'm 41.
Damn, bro. That's that's incredible.
Hmm.
Uh, it, uh, I mean, just to let you know, my mind. I mean, I've traveled. I've been overseas, but I have not been to the Philippines yet.
You should
So
come. You should really come.
I'm between a rock and a hard place. Basically, I want to go to the Philippines. I'm more I'm a bit more comfortable in I'm it's hard. It's a little bit hard when you get to be this age and the entire world is open to you because it's like and I think you're like maybe you're getting that now a little bit too. When you're in the US and you're in Western society, it feels like you don't have any options. But then
Yeah.
the moment you leave the United States and you step outside of the United States and all of a sudden women are looking at you and interested in you and you feel a sense of freedom. It's like you suddenly get your life back. And it's hard to just like pick one. There are a lot of what do you call those guys? There are a lot of expats, like who they can't settle. They cannot settle down with one woman because life is too good. They're just basically lifetime bachelors, and they're just shifting from one woman to another, and they're flying all over Asia, and they're living these lives. And when you leave the United States, you suddenly realize how much value you have as a man. I mean, I'm sure you felt that.
Yes. Well, I know how much value I have as a man because I'm, always talking about masculinity on my channel. But yeah, you definitely get the respect and the appreciation here as a man.
I I I love saying this, go where you're appreciated, and
Yes.
it's and clearly you're appreciated. Men are appreciated in the Philippines.
Well, what I say, one of the sayings I have on my channel is that if they don't value your masculinity, they don't deserve your masculinity. So go where they.
Oh, I like that.
That's one of my
I,
slogans. You can use it if you want. I don't mind.
if they don't value your masculinity, they don't deserve your masculinity.
Exactly. That's why I tell guys on the West, stop wasting your masculinity, stop wasting your youth, stop wasting your energy, your time, your productivity in a country that doesn't care about you when you could be doing that in another country. Take your masculinity to another country where they appreciate you, they value you, they respect you, and work in that country, make that country a little bit better place.
There are a lot of guys that are damaged right now, like really, really damaged mentally. They're demoralized. They don't feel like there's no way that any woman is going to want them or appreciate them, or if they do go overseas, they're going to run into someone who's just trying to take advantage of them. They have that damage from America, from living in Western society, and it's hard to even trust trust that there are actually women out there, and that there's actually freedom out there. Do you think that that a lot of men who go to the Philippines will start to heal?
Yes, I've even talked to men who have literally said the Philippines like healed them, like they recovered from the West, from the damage that they suffered in the West, from being in the Philippines. So yes, the Philippines will restore you back. Your joy, your happiness. Physically, you'll be healthier because you won't be stressed or depressed or whatever you're dealing with in the States. It's going to go away when you come to the Philippines. So you will recover from any trauma that you've went through in the States if you come to the Philippines.
Now let me ask you this. So for example, I take it your mom's still alive, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you in there's a notion that you don't want your Filipina getting too intertwined with with Western women, because they'll mess everything up. They'll flip it up. Would you will you do you plan on introducing your Filipina to your mother at any point?
No, I don't.
Interesting. Why?
I don't really have that close of a relationship with my mom anyway, so I don't really see any point because I was raised by a single mother. So
Damn.
when you're raised by a single mother, I think you either go one or two ways. You either become a complete beta cuck or you go complete opposite. So and then you turn into a man going his own way, because you see firsthand when you have a single mother. That's where you learn female nature from. That's where you start to learn it from, being raised by a single mother.
Mm.
So
That's really.
I've actually been red pilled for a very long time. Since my youth, I think I've been red pilled.
Hmm. I definitely, I know, I understand what you're saying because maybe you saw a lot of that growing up, being around your mother and the things that she did.
Yeah, no, definitely. You see the way they, they talk about the father, things they say that aren't even true. And then when you're young, you don't know what to believe. But then when you grow up, you actually start to realize the truth, and then you see your mother in a different light. So
Hmm.
even though she's your mom, it's like, well, she still has female nature. So
Yeah, I can definitely understand what you're saying. You cut out there for a little. You cut out there for a moment.
uh,
Yeah, but no, I definitely definitely know what you mean. Especially because there's a lot of guys who, they're just gone. They are just absolutely gone. What do you think? The one thing that I always say about the manosphere is that the manosphere is ripe with simps, and you have simps that, if there's simps in America, they're going to be simps in the Philippines, and I think that a lot of the guys who will end up getting taken advantage of are going to be simps because they're doing stupid things going over there, and these are the guys that are going to go over there and buy a Filipina a car who doesn't even know how to drive or hand over their life savings to someone who never even finished middle school. Do you agree with that?
yeah, I mean, if you're simping, look, when you come to the Philippines, I'm going to be honest, the women are they're worth simping for a little bit. You should simp. Like if she's taking care of you and she's doing her job as a woman, you should reciprocate that with a little bit of simping. But if you're just going full blown like crazy, spending crazy amounts of money, then yeah, you're going to get taken advantage of.
Well, so you call it simping, but what do you define as a little bit of simping?
I mean, like I said, I bought my girlfriend a cell phone, so I would consider that simping, but she's taking care of me. Like she's cooking, cleaning, making sure I'm taken care of in the bed. And so of course, I mean, I appreciate her, and she appreciates me. We have a very healthy relationship. So when
So you
if you love somebody and they love you, there's gonna be a little simping. Like that's unavoidable.
so in reality, you're just showing her that you appreciate her.
Yeah. But by Western standards it would be considered simping.
Hmm. I think unfortunately, and this is one of the biggest problems, is like Western women have they've created this level of toxicity where men are now conditioned, because of red pill, to give them less because they know that women will just take advantage of you. If you're in a relationship with a good woman, and this is how it's supposed to work, if she takes care of you, you're going to want to take care of her. So if she treats you like a king, you're going to want to treat her like a queen. But
Yes, exactly.
the women in Western society, they want to be treated like queens, are given the princess treatment, while they treat you like a peasant. And I think they've created that problem because honestly, I think it's very, very unhealthy the way that we're approaching things in Western society. Unfortunately, men have to be careful now. You should not be going out giving her gifts, taking her, taking her to even to these dinners and things like that. But at the same time, if we before feminism got to the point where it's at right now, it was normal, and it was seen as favorable when a man would be kind. These gestures were appreciated by women, and they did not take advantage of a man. When he did that, and I think that that's kind of where the Philippines are right now, and you can elaborate on that. It's like it's more traditional. So yeah, women, they value these things. They value that, and they don't. They typically, there's always going to be bad actors, but they value these things, and they reciprocate them. So basically it's not a sense it's not simping like in Western society where you have guys like Destiny or Will Smith. And I know you know what's happening with Will Smith. You have to know what's happening with Will Smith at this
Yeah.
point. Oh God. But I think that it's actually healthy. I think that you're able to in the Philippines, you're able to return to more of what a healthy relationship with a woman would look like versus Western society where you constantly have to be on your guard that she's just trying to use you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, the Western women have definitely screwed themselves pretty bad because they don't realize, or they still haven't been able to realize, that you can actually get more from a man by submitting to him and taking care of him and respecting him. That's going to motivate him to want to do more things for you. So, yeah, Western women just can't figure it out. And definitely being here in the Philippines, the relationship is a lot more. So a Western relationship is all about what can I get, and when you're in the Philippines, it's about what can I give. So it's more about giving to the other person instead of trying to get something from the other person.
Hmm.
So as long as the two, you know, people in the relationship are putting the other person's needs and wants first ahead of their own, then you have a healthy relationship.
How do you get along with her family? Because they're living with you, so obviously things are okay. But they jumped in. It's how did you get from how did you go from meeting her to deciding that she was going to live with you? And
Okay, you cut out again, but I
yeah,
can.
yeah. Are you hearing me?
Um,
You can hear me.
yeah, yeah. Well, what happened was I was looking for an apartment when I got here, and we just really couldn't find anything. So basically, I just moved in with her, but now I'm paying all the bills. So, but I get along fine with her parents. It's like no problems at all. They're very respectful, and
Okay. All right. Now, when you say you couldn't find anything, why were you? Because that's something a lot of guys also have to think about. Why was it so hard for you to find something?
um, well, first of all, I just really wasn't even looking that hard. Like we called around to a few places, and we did find one place, but it was too far from like the gym and things that I wanted to be near to. So it just depends on you, like what you want. I just couldn't find anything that was close to the gym and just close to the area that I wanted to live. And I was just coming over here to her house, to have dinner with her parents and everything. And then her parents basically just suggested just come move in with us and live here, and I didn't want to spend any more money on the hotel, like looking for an apartment while I was looking for an apartment, because I didn't want to waste any more money on the hotel. So I was just like, okay, I'll just stay here. And the plan was to keep looking for an apartment, but now that I'm here, I'm like, I'm comfortable here, I'm fine, so I'm just gonna stay here.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
And I mean, what's the relationship with you and her family?
It's great. They love me. We get along. It's a multi generational family, but it's good. Like it's not like in the West where you're just in your apartment by yourself. Everybody lives alone. That's not healthy either. Uh, so yeah, I have a family now, like a whole family,
Wow.
and it's great. I'm happy. Like my her mom, like cooks when she's not here or she's at work and washes my clothes, and I'm very well taken care of by the whole family, not just her. Like if I need anything, they will, you know, go out of their way, even to make like special food for me, which I told them they don't have to do, but they do it anyways. So I was like,
Do you give them now? Do you give them money?
no, I don't.
Wow. Hmm. Have they
They
ever
don't.
asked for money?
No, they have not. Well, her dad works.
Okay. So that's a good question. So, I already know the answer to this, but what kind of money does the average Filipino make over in the Philippines?
Well, in the call centers, they make between like $400 and $600 a month in the call centers.
Okay.
And then I don't know how much her dad makes, but I know he makes very, very little. He works in construction. The construction workers make very little money.
Okay, so he does not make anywhere close to what she's making.
No, no, he doesn't.
Okay, so he's probably making maybe if $300 a month might be that
Yeah,
would be
maybe.
okay. And so I mean this is so the average Filipino, to my understanding, if they make $3,600 a year, that's not even terrible money for the average Filipino, and on that money they live, they survive. Am I right?
Yeah, no, the job that she has now, she doesn't even need me. Like she can take care of herself with what she's making now.
And that's $400 to $600 a month.
Yeah, she's making about 600 now. At her last job, I think she was making like less than that, but that's why she changed jobs to make more money or changed companies.
So on just $7,200 a year, she does not need you.
No, she doesn't. I mean, not financially.
Holy cow. That's okay. So when someone like you, someone like, from the West, from Western society, goes over to the Philippines and, they're making, let's say, 30,000, 40,000, $50,000 a year, that's ridiculous. That's crazy money in the Philippines then.
Yeah. You're like a multimillionaire in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So
how does it feel walking around in the Philippines? Do you feel safe?
I am actually, yeah, I want to talk about that because there's a lot of people talking about how it's not safe here, and that's not true. It is very safe here. I walk around all the time. I enjoy walking. Uh, I walk around in the daytime. I go to the gym in the morning. I walk around at night. I go to like the little stores that are all down the street and just buy snacks and drinks and things. And I'm perfectly safe. I have never had any issue with my safety here. And where I live in Angeles City is actually considered like a bad city, like dangerous, but it's not. Like I said, if you're just stupid and you put yourself in the bar and you're out late in the bars, yeah, you're probably going to get, robbed or something. You might get your wallet pickpocketed or something, but just don't be stupid. Don't do anything here you wouldn't do in your own country. Like don't go walking down dark alleys.
So it's not. So you would not say it's not that safe walking at night then?
Well, if you're walking around the bar areas, I mean, yeah, the girls are going to be trying to grab you and talk to you, and you might get scammed at the, and especially if you're taking girls home to the hotel, you might wake up with your wallet gone, but that's your own fault for being stupid.
Okay, but I'm talking about like general safety. Like, for example, in the U.S., you're going to be, I grew
You're
up in
just
New
as
York.
safe with
Go
the way
ahead.
the U.S. With the crime in the U.S. now. You are just as safe here as you are in the West. There's no more or less danger.
Okay.
So in general, I think you're safer here, honestly. Like I wouldn't walk down the streets, and where I was living in the States, I was in Houston, Texas. I wasn't walking up and down the streets at night. I was at home. So, but here, I mean, people hang out outside all the time. So there's always people outside. Like nothing's going to happen because if something does, someone else is going to see it. You know,
Since you've been in the Philippines, have you needed to see a doctor?
I actually have. That's another thing we can talk about too, because a lot of people are talking about how the healthcare is not good. And in my experience, that is not true. The healthcare was amazing. I did get sick. I got a fever. It was really bad. So we went to the emergency room. I did a video about it. And I had a really good experience. Like they took very good care of me. They got my fever down as soon as I got to the hospital. And a few days later, I was fine. So they gave me medicine, and my emergency room experience was actually better here in the Philippines than it would have been in the West because I walked in and I was immediately treated. Whereas in the West, I would have had to wait for who knows how long, hours, you know.
Mm. Now you don't
And
have health insurance, obviously, though.
no, I don't. But I have been looking into that, so I'm going to get that health insurance. And also, my emergency room visit was, I think, with my emergency room visit, they did my blood test, urine test, a COVID test, chest X-rays, uh, and gave me medicine. Then they gave me prescriptions for more medicine. Everything together was like about $100.
for your
So
emergency room visit.
yeah,
Okay, okay, but that's what all the things that they did, like blood
that is
work and stuff like that.
everything. Yeah, everything, and my medicine. So
Okay, yeah. No, that's amazing. Now, you did get sick. Was it just like a general fever or what?
no, they told me I had pneumonia. So
Uh so this is a good question. Do you think that your risk of getting sick is greater in the Philippines versus the US?
no, because I didn't get sick until like that was just like about a month ago. So for the first 2 months, I was fine, and I was eating all the food. I didn't even get like my stomach didn't get upset. I didn't get sick from the food. I think that was just I don't know. Maybe I just got pneumonia from walking around with my shirt uh, all sweaty after the gym or something. I don't know. Like
Okay. It was just your first time in your life getting pneumonia?
actually, it was yeah. So,
Wow.
which it was weird for me because I didn't feel like other than that, when I had the fever, I didn't really feel bad. I didn't feel that bad, but we actually went back to the doctor for another checkup to confirm, and she confirmed that it was in fact pneumonia. And she just gave me some more medicine, and I feel fine now. So
When you went back for the second checkup, how much did that cost you?
that was like it was like $20 or something, maybe $15. Oh, and I went to the dentist too.
What kind of cost did you experience at the dentist?
The dentist, well, we actually had I think my dentist, it was like $20 or $30 for I got a filling and teeth cleaning.
Hmm.
So
And tell me a little bit about how the doctor treated you and how the dentist treated you.
they actually treat you very well. They're very good at explaining everything to you. Like the dentist did a really good job of like explaining everything he was doing while he was doing it. I think that my dentist experience here was even better than in the West because my dentist in the West told me I needed a root canal, and the dentist here was like, "No, we're just going to give you a filling; it'll be fine." So I don't need a root canal. So I think they're just trying to charge your insurance more, give you more procedures that you don't necessarily need, so they can charge your insurance.
For me, living in Mexico, it was like night and day, versus the United States and Mexico. When living over there, I had my own dentist, and I paid very little money, and the quality of service that I got is just unbelievable. I mean, I needed a surgery at one point, a dental surgery at one point, and I went to like one of the best centers that they had over there, and this thing was like it was just unbelievable. The
Yes,
level of quality. Go ahead.
yeah, the service is definitely way better over here, I would say, because even when I went to the emergency room, they brought me a wheelchair, even though I didn't need a wheelchair. They brought me one anyways. And the dentist was, no one likes going to the dentist, right? Like it's uncomfortable, but it was the most comfortable dentist experience I've had. Like there was no pain, getting my teeth cleaned. Even though he said it was going to be more painful because they use a different kind of tool here than they do in the West, but I didn't feel any pain at all. So I could not have been more comfortable with the dentist.
Wow. And both the doctor and the dentist spoke English
Yes, fluently. I
fluently.
was able to communicate, perfectly with everyone to get me back healthy. So do not worry about healthcare in the Philippines, just because the doctors here are good, the hospitals are good. I mean, I don't know why everyone's saying that. I don't know why these bloggers are saying all these bad things. I have not had any bad experiences here with the healthcare.
Hmm. You mentioned that you're looking into getting in some kind of insurance soon.
Yes, I mean you should have insurance. even though the healthcare is cheap, you should have insurance.
Okay, so are you able to get an insurance plan specifically for you in the Philippines? Are we talking about like
Yeah, there's some plans that you can get specifically here in the Philippines.
okay.
So yeah, you can go to the doctor's office, and they usually have like a little section where they have all the insurance companies that they accept. So I just took like a picture of it, and then I'm gonna look up the companies and figure out which one's the best one.
So the process for going to the Philippines, let's talk a little bit about that. When what kind of visa are you on right now? How are you able to stay in the country?
So that's another reason to come to the Philippines, is because it's very foreigner friendly. It's very travel friendly. So I'm on a tourist visa. So getting my visa, going to the immigration office was really easy for me here in Angeles City. Uh, so you just go to the immigration office. So when you first get off the plane, they give you the 30-day visa. You go renew it for 60 days, and you just go to the office. Give them, fill out the little paper, show them your passport. They tell you to wait for 2 hours. You come back, you pick up your visa, and it's super easy. And you can just keep renewing your visa like for up to 3 years. And then at 3 years, you have to leave the country for one day. So you can just fly back to Taiwan, spend the night there, and then just come right back and do it all over again.
And how often do you have to update that visa?
So for me, it's every 2 months or 3 months, I think. Yeah, it's 3 months. But there are longer visas, but for some reason they told me here in Angeles City that they don't offer there's like a 6 month one, or they don't offer that one here. So I can only get a 3 month visa.
Okay. So you go there every 3 months.
Yeah. But it's
Okay.
not even like a big deal. It's the immigration office is in the mall. So you can just go hang out at the mall while you're waiting for your visa. Like, it's not even a big deal.
What happens if you overstay?
They give you have to pay a fine. That's it.
Oh, so they don't kick you out of the country.
No, they're not going to. They actually will not let you leave until you pay your fine.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, so not bad at all. And there's up to 6 months. All right. So basically after 3 years you leave the country for one day and then you can come back and do it all over again.
Yep.
All right. And you can also apply for permanent residency, can't you?
I haven't looked into that, but I I don't have any information on that because I haven't really looked into that.
It basically sounds like you're not even worried. You're just going to the mall, renewing when you need to, and
I'm
that's it.
honestly not worried. Like, I'm just living here. Everything's fine. Uh, I'm not worried about getting deported. Like, as long as you just have your go renew your visa, you're good. Like,
So there is a thing called Tampo that men have heard of, and I'm sure you've heard of Tampo by this point.
oh yes, yes,
Have you experienced Tampo?
I have.
What?
She's sleeping right now. Yes, I have experienced it,
Oh
but
boy.
I usually just give her Tompo back. So
Really?
yeah, I'm not. The funny thing, I feel bad for her because not everybody is red pill. Not everybody that comes here is manosphere, but because I am, she has it harder than the other Filipinas. It was because when she gets Tompo, I'm just like, oh, you're having a tantrum. Okay, well, let me know when you're done. So, and that just makes her
Wow.
more mad.
Okay, so we need to talk a little bit more about this, how to recognize Tampo and how to deal with Tampo directly, because I feel like a lot of guys will fall into that trap of, of letting the Filipina walk on them.
Well, I will say when Tompo happens, that's when you definitely don't be simping during Tompo. Like, if she's having an attitude, do not give in. It's basically like a child having a tantrum. So you just walk off, let her. Like I said, I just tell her, let me know when you're done. I'm
How
gonna
do you
go.
how do you recognize Tampo immediately?
They'll just like stop talking. They'll just be quiet. You know. So you'll know when she's not talking to you.
Oh gosh. All right. And how long does it usually last?
Not very long. It's like a few minutes, maybe an hour. They get over it pretty quickly. It really is just a tantrum.
Hmm. Why do you think Filipinos do that?
Uh, Most of the time it's just because like it's just a little bit of jealousy or something.
Jealousy in relation to what?
It's just like I don't know, like maybe if someone sends you like a message on your Facebook or something, like another girl would try to, because girls, other women will try to like talk to you if they know you're in the country. They see your Facebook status and you're in the country, they'll try to like message you and stuff.
So Filipinos. So this is something I've heard about Filipinos that they want a man all for themselves.
Yes, they are very they do mate guard. So
Mate
is
card.
that yeah, they mate guard. They mate guard their man. As opposed to in the West where the men are mate guarding the women. Here the women are mate guarding the men.
What exactly do you mean by mate guard? And I have an idea, but just elaborate just a little bit.
They just kind of make sure that everyone knows you belong to them. So
Holy cow!
like if they see another woman looking at you, she might put her arm around you or like pull you to her just to make sure that other woman knows this one's
Jeez,
mine. Stay away.
what the heck?
Yeah, they're like dogs in the street with a bone. Like this is my bone. You stay away from my bone.
My gosh! My goodness gracious! That's
It's very flattering. So
now one of the things, and I'll say this. I spent my 20s and even some of my 30s. I spent it with lots of Japanese people, and that's kind of like where a little hardship comes for me because I want to go to the Philippines. I want to have some fun over there, but at the same time, my heart's in Japan, a little in Japan. So, and the thing is, with Japanese culture, but is a little is different from Filipino culture, and in Japanese culture, they won't all say it, but in Japanese culture, cheating is widely accepted. And as a guy at 41, you've been a follower for my channel for a number of years, so you know the kind of life I've lived.
yeah,
And, yeah, I have a, I have a body count that might rival Riley Reid, and I don't know if I could be a one woman man in the Philippines. I've heard that you can get into a lot of trouble if you cheat.
um, yeah, it's gonna cause you some drama. But I would recommend if you don't want to be a one woman man, is at the very least be a one woman at a time man. So just make sure that there's an understanding that you communicate that hey, this is going to be like for a couple weeks. It's not going to be a forever thing.
Yeah. See, like, so for me that'd be hard because I like to have my coffee at home and then have some Starbucks also.
Well, yeah, you're going to be dealing with a lot of tampo then,
Well,
which is going to be annoying.
oh god. Now, do you in the Philippines? Like, I'm actually quite versed on a lot of Filipino law. In the Philippines, it's actually legal. I don't think they changed the law. They tried to, but I don't think they changed it yet. It's actually legal for a spouse to take the life of a cheating spouse. Have you heard about that?
Well, it's against the law. Adultery is against the law, but that's just another one of those laws that they don't enforce. It's just on the books, but no, they don't enforce it.
They say that you can actually go to jail for like a minimum of like 3 months or something like that in the Philippines for cheating, but they don't actually enforce it there then.
No, they don't, because the reason they don't enforce it is because, like, for example, if the couple is separated and, like, let's say that the Filipina gets a new boyfriend, usually the Filipino has a new girlfriend, so they're both cheating. So if any one makes an accusation, the other one can just make the accusation back. So
Hmm. Let's talk about like the situation with consent, because basically in the United States you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You don't want to touch her, you don't want to make the first move. She gets anything she says can and will be used against you. She can retroactively withdraw consent, so after you've been intimate with her, she can turn around and say that something happened. How is that different in the Philippines? Do you ever feel that weight that the woman will turn on you later on and that she can say that something happened that actually didn't happen? I mean, how does that work over there?
Absolutely, that doesn't even exist over here. They are, if you're in a relationship or even if you're dating and she's hoping it's going to turn into a relationship, they are fully wanting to please you, especially in that area. In fact, sometimes she has to get my consent because I'm like, I'm busy, woman. I don't have time for this right now. But they're going to make sure that you're very well taken care of in the bedroom. Like
Hmm.
you're going to be. You're, I was just talking about it with some guys, some of my guy friends in the States about like sex on demand. And because the men in the States are so thirsty, they've never experienced, sex on demand. So once you get over here, sex doesn't even become, it's not even important anymore because you get it all the time. So it's not even something you really put any importance on anymore.
Hmm.
The only
Very,
reason they
very.
think, the only reason they think so much about it in the States is because they're not getting it. Like when you get it on a regular basis, you don't think about it.
We need to talk. We need to expand on this. I need to take a quick 5-minute break. So go ahead and mute your mic. I'm going to put the timer on, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Then, all
All
right.
right. All right.
Alrighty, so it looks like we are back.
We are back.
Okay, so we were talking about intimacy in the Philippines. We were talking about, you know, so you said that obviously that they will take care of you. My question in regards to that is, does a guy ever have to worry though that she could accuse him of something later on?
No, I mean, even who's she gonna accuse him to? I just don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, you know how it is in Western society. It's very different here. A girl can easily say, that something happened that she didn't that she can retroactively withdraw consent. So that cannot happen in the Philippines.
No, look, even though there's a lot of men coming here, there's still a lot of Filipinos who don't have a foreigner. So for them, getting a foreigner is like, it's a big deal. So they're just happy to have a foreigner.
Hmm.
The Filipinos still way outnumber the foreigners that are here.
How do you think Filipino men view foreigners who come to the Philippines and get into relationships with Filipinos? Do you think they resent them, or is there any animosity? How do you think they feel about that?
No, there's no resentment. There's no animosity. I talk to the guys at the gym, the Filipino guys. My girlfriend's brother's a nice guy. He has a Filipino wife. I mean, there's still plenty of women to go around for both the foreigners and the Filipino men. So there's no negative feelings about it whatsoever.
Do you see a lot of other foreigners on a regular basis where you currently live?
Where I live? No, actually, I don't. Most of them stay because Angeles City is kind of known for being like just like a party city. So most of them just stay by the bars where the bar girls are at. Mm-hmm. So because I live a little bit away from that, most of the foreigners, they're just here on vacation. They're not living here, so they don't venture out away from the comforts of the hotels and the McDonald's and the bar girls and the mall.
You keep on bringing up the bar girls.
Well, they love the bar girls here. I mean, they are nice to look at.
Okay, so they're nice to look at, but it sounds like if you're looking for an actual relationship, you want to stay away from the bars.
I mean, in general, yeah, because there's a lot of nice girls here that you can just go to the mall and meet a nice girl there. Just walking around, you can just meet nice girls. So you don't have to go to the bars.
Okay, but under no circumstance should you try to look for a girl in the bar.
I mean, unless it's just a sex thing, I'm not saying that the bar girls are probably nice girls too. They probably want to find a nice foreigner to settle down with too. But that's not the place you have to go to do it. You can do it at the. You can just go to the mall and meet girls at the mall.
And you can just walk up to a girl you like and just start talking to her.
Yeah, you can talk to whatever girl you want to. They're when you're walking around, they're looking at you like they want you to go talk to them.
Wow. Okay. So you meet your Filipina. I mean, how long does it usually take for to transition into you hanging out with her?
Well, I've heard a lot of different, time frames. Like you can set up a date right away. Like whenever she's not busy, she's not working, just go out on a date whenever you want.
Hmm.
And then the intimacy part will usually start pretty quickly too, because she's gonna want to try and keep you. So she knows she's got to do what she's got to do to keep your attention.
Okay. So within a week's time, it's probably going to happen.
I would say within a day, probably.
Wow.
Honestly,
Wow.
I know
Wow.
I know a lot of guys I talk to. They would say like, yeah, we went on a date, and then that night we were already being intimate. So
Now, you've talked very positively about Filipinas. They don't even want to take money from you. I mean, when you hear about this, is because like it sounds like they're quick to they want to get a foreigner, but then at the same time they're not looking to take advantage of the foreigner. It sounds it almost sounds a little strange because like on one hand it sounds like they're desperate, but on the other hand, there's when you're in a relationship with them, they're quite genuine. How does that work?
well, they do want a genuine relationship. It's not really about money. I mean, yeah, they would like to have a Westerner with money that could help them, financially, but it's more they genuinely want to be in a loving, healthy relationship with a man. And I think that the Filipino women who date foreigners, they they just don't date Filipino men because they think the Filipino men are just a little bit immature and just not as responsible as a foreigner man would be.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. So since you've been over there, you've only been with one Filipina, though, right?
yes, I don't really need to be with any. I mean, I couldn't. I literally, even if I wanted to, I could not. My balls are completely dry.
What? Now
Yeah.
this is now this is something that's a very interesting statement. You know, as men, and it's kind of baffling to me. It is baffling to me. Like any woman would, I've always said this that, if a woman is smart, all she has to do is feed him, and f him, and make sure that his balls are dry. So there should not be a drop of cum left in his body. And
Yeah,
it sounds like that's the treatment that guys get in the Philippines.
that is the treatment. I mean, if we're not having sex, it's because I don't want to, you know. So it's because I'm busy doing something or I'm tired. It's not. It's me telling her I'm tired instead of her telling me she's tired. Like you guys here in the West, you know.
Hmm.
So
So they definitely make sure to take care of their business. Now, your Filipina, she did have a kid. So in Western society, there's a thing: don't date single mothers. But let me
mm,
ask this first: is she married?
no.
Okay, and why did you decide to get into a relationship with a woman who had a kid?
Well, I mean, I'm getting older, so I was thinking like I need to have some offspring. So I wasn't opposed to having kids. I just didn't want to have kids in the West. Like that was the main thing.
Okay, although that kid is not yours.
No, but he's a good kid.
Hmm. So do you think you?
Dating single mothers is different here too. Like it's not the same. Like it's they even though she's a single mother, they still put the man first.
Hmm.
So you don't have to worry. She's not going to put the kid before you. The man is still like the main priority to her.
Hmm. Does the kid ever ask you for money or ask you for anything?
No, he doesn't ask me for anything. He just asked me to go outside and play. So
Hmm.
He's a normal kid. They're normal kids out here. They actually play outside still. They're not just on their phones all the time. And
Okay. What's your setup like in the Philippines? I mean, like you're 1 year older than I am, so you're you're in that range. I mean, do you have your what do you have with you over? Do you have your laptop, your gaming PC, your Nintendo Switch? What's going on?
well, I'm kind of wishing I had brought my PlayStation over here. So no, I just have my laptop and my phones, and that's about it.
I
I wasn't
got you.
plan I wasn't planning on gaming when I came over here because I just want to focus all my time on my channel. But yeah, sometimes I kind of want to game. And electronics are very expensive over here. So for guys coming over here, make sure you have all your electronics. Make sure you bring multiple phones, multiple laptops if you can, and bring like the good stuff. Bring all your camera equipment because you can get it here, but you're gonna pay more. So
I was wondering about that because when I lived overseas, like I noticed that I needed when I was living over in Mexico, I bought a Nintendo Switch, and I paid the same amount for a used Switch that you would pay for that you would pay for a new one, and I
yeah,
noticed how much more expensive things were.
yeah, they're very much more like for some reason electronics they're more expensive and they're lower quality. Like the phone that I just bought for her is still not as good as my phone that I bought from the US. So
Hmm.
definitely make sure you got all your electronics when you come over here. Everything you think you're gonna need for your
Hmm.
setup.
I That's something I've picked up on. For example, I need to buy a phone over there, and every time I bought a phone over there, they were not equal to the phones that you to the tech that you have in the U.S. Like for example, the electronics tend to be cheaper in the U.S., but the food and everything else tends to be cheaper overseas. That's what. So it sounds like that's what you've been experiencing over there.
Yes, the electronics are ridiculously overpriced. So I actually found the laptop that I have. I found the exact same one here at the mall, and they're trying to charge like $500 more than I paid for it.
Wow,
Yeah,
how how can a Filipino afford that?
they can't. I mean, for a Filipino to have a laptop is a huge luxury. And
Hmm.
even the laptops they have here, they have like the Chromebooks, the little Acer ones, the little cheap ones you buy at Walmart for like $200. Those are the ones they have here.
Ah,
So
what kind of I mean, in terms of cell phones, where, like you said, I mean, do you have people walking around on iPhones or what?
they have iPhones here. You can buy an iPhone here. You can buy a Samsung. You can buy the new Samsung 24 or whatever version it is right now.
No,
Uh,
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, for example, in the U.S., everyone's walking around with a $1,000 phone. What's it like over there? Like, what does the average Filipino use?
over here, everybody wants an iPhone. Not everyone has or can afford an iPhone. So most people don't have iPhones. So even I didn't buy an iPhone. I bought her a regular, I don't know, Filipino phone.
A regular Filipino phone?
Yeah, it's a brand called Oppo. It's a popular brand here in the Philippines. So
Yeah, I know. It's funny you mentioned Apple. I'm like, you ever heard of OnePlus?
yes, I think we have. I don't know what her old phone is. Might be OnePlus. I don't know.
Yeah, Oppo is the parent company for OnePlus. Like right now I have my OnePlus. I've been a big OnePlus fan for years, and basically they're just Oppo phones rebranded. But
Really,
it's a good phone, isn't it?
Oppo is. Yeah, I think it. I mean, it's not. It's still not the quality, Western quality, but oh no, she has Realme. Her other phone is Realme.
Ah, you have Realme over there too. So those are so you guys, so it sounds like they have access to a lot of the Chinese phones. So that's something interesting. They may have phones that we don't have access to in the US or easy access to in the
Yeah,
US.
there's a lot of phones here that are not. The brands here are not in the U.S. at all. So I mean, they're phones, but they work. It's just the quality just isn't up to Western standards.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how much different the the cost is. Right now I'm using I have a Motorola I have a Motorola Edge, and then I also have a OnePlus Nord, and it's like these are compared to living overseas, that's one thing that was so hard. Having access to a night, being able to like go and buy an affordable phone
Yeah,
that's high quality.
yeah, and these phones are just they're expensive. Like you wouldn't pay what you pay for these phones in the West. Like even I bought the smartwatch to go with the phone. This smartwatch that I have right now, you probably could buy this at like Marshalls or Ross or TJ Maxx for like $10. But here it's like $30.
One thing I noticed, and it's unfortunate with Mexico, you cannot, you have to be very careful. I'm not The people are not necessarily bad people, and there are good people there as well, but you have to be careful because they will try to rip you off and take advantage of you. How is that? How is it in the Philippines? Will the people try to rip you off and take advantage of you?
Well, yeah, a little bit. Like the trike drivers. I don't know if you're familiar with trikes and jeepneys. I don't know if they have that in Japan. Like the little motorcycle with the seat on the side, so they can like
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with those.
they'll try and like charge you a little bit more than they would charge a Filipino person, but a lot of times the amount is so insignificant that even though they're charging you more, even though they're ripping you off, it kind of doesn't even like matter because it's so they'll just charge you like maybe 10 more pesos or 20 more pesos than they would charge a Filipino person,
Hmm.
which is an insignificant, like it's change. So
Have you ever got into a yelling match with your Filipino, or is that something that just wouldn't happen?
absolutely no. First of all, that wouldn't happen with the Filipino. Secondly, that wouldn't happen with me because I would never even do that, even with a Western woman. As soon as they start raising their voice, I'm like, you're done. Goodbye. So no,
Hmm. So,
that's another, they would never be yelling. They would never disrespect you in that way.
so I'm curious about this because the Filipinos. I watched the Filipina P, and she was in the U.S. for a couple of months. Crazy.
Yeah.
And one of the things she actually said is that she was like the moment she stepped out in JFK. JFK Airport in New York, right?
Yeah.
She had a layover in JFK, and she said the first thing she notices basically how fat Americans are compared to people in the Philippines. Is that something you've noticed?
Um, yeah, Filipino women are a lot more skinnier and petite than, women in the West. And the men here some of the men are kind of fat because they drink beer. But most of them are, yeah, there's not as many fat people here as there is in the West.
How are they able to? Because you mentioned the food. You said that the food was really good, and it's hard to stay skinny in the Philippines as a Westerner. But yet, how are they able to stay so fit and trim eating that food?
They work very hard. Like the men have very hard, difficult construction jobs. They're working in the heat. They're sweating all day. Um, so like even my girlfriend's father is in better shape than me because he works in construction. I mean, he's like lean, like I don't know, 5% body fat. So
Damn.
the lifestyle keeps you fit.
How old is your girlfriend's father?
He's only like a few years older than me. I think he's like 48 or 49 or something.
That's very interesting. So, because I have thought about that because a lot of guys that are our age, we're going to end up going out there getting 20-year-olds and, girls in their 20s. So when, what's it like being, with a woman when her father is not too much older than you? You guys are just right, almost around the same age.
Yes. Honestly, like I thought it was gonna be weird, but it's really not. Like, I mean, I think dads they want the best for their daughters. They want to just know that their daughter is with a guy that's gonna treat them right, respect them, not abuse them or anything. So they're happy as long as their daughter is happy. So as long as you're keeping her, she's happy, then I mean, he's just a dad. He just wants his daughter to be happy. So,
Okay.
and she is.
Okay. So you have a two-bedroom apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you and your Filipina, you share one room, and then her parents and her son share another room.
Yeah. Lot of times in the Filipino culture, like the parents do a lot of the caretaking of the children. Like even my girlfriend's brother, his daughter comes over here while he's working, so they just take care of the kids. The parents usually help with the child care.
Hmm. Okay. So you said that there's pretty much zero. Oh, I know I asked you about your mother, but in terms of bringing your Filipina back to the West, is there any chance you would ever do this?
Well, I wouldn't do it just because I don't want to go back to the West. And but if you're asking like, should someone do that? I wouldn't. I can't. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know why. If you're coming over here, I don't know why as a man you would want to go back to the West. And honestly, a lot of Filipinas, they don't want to go because they're very family oriented. They don't want to leave their family.
Do you think Filipinas have a negative view of? We talked about this a little bit previously because we tried recording, and thankfully we decided to go live, and this has been perfect more or less. we talked about we talked about this, that Filipinas, they know what's happening in the US, and they see the comments that women, especially black women, are leaving about Filipinas. And tell us again how they feel about this, because and what they're witnessing.
Yeah, they're watching the videos on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and they're just basically laughing at the Western women. Like they think Western women are a joke, and they're happy for all the passport bros coming over here. They're happy to take the Western men and love them, show them what a real woman is. And like I watch the videos with my girlfriend too, and we just laugh. We have a good time. It's entertainment. You know, we watch the Cheesecake Factory girl, and they think Western women are just ridiculous. Like that, their opinion is, you know, they're happy. They're happy Western women are, being the way they are, so they can, so all the men will come over here, and they can have the men.
Very interesting. Now, I mean, you see, we definitely see that this is a pattern that's breaking out over there. Do you now, right now, you said, we talked a bit, and you said that you're basically over there and you're able to sustain yourself just on savings, although you've very low cost, $200 a month. And then food is, you said food is, you spend about $100 a month on food, right?
Yeah,
So you're basically getting by on around $300 a month for everything.
yeah. Well, my whole budget, I make a budget for myself, so my whole budget is like about $800 a month. That's just for me to have. I spend about like $10-$20 a day on, like, I don't know, street food, and like I buy a Red Bull or I buy a beer or something. And but usually I don't even spend my whole budget. Like I spend about half my budget on a
Hmm.
daily basis. So I allow myself $800 a month, and then I usually just maybe spend like 400 or 500.
So you allow yourself $800, but in reality, so you have wiggle room, but in reality, you end up spending typically around half of that.
Yeah, like on a regular day, I don't spend any more than 500 pesos, which is about $10.
Hmm. Very, very cool. And you have no interest in going back to the United States ever.
Absolutely no. I'm so happy here. Like this was the best decision I've ever made, and I thought about it for such a long time, and I'm so glad that I finally just like had the courage to do it. So yeah, it's great. It's great over here. Every day I wake up, I'm just like, thank God I'm out of the West and I'm here and I'm happy. So
Hmm.
it's what I tell men. I tell men, if you're thinking about coming here, do not hesitate. Don't waste any more time thinking about it. Just do it. Like it's going to change your life.
Hmm. I tell you, it's for you. It's what this was this the first time you've left, like left the country and lived in another country?
Oh, this is the first time I lived in a country. I went to Nepal like a long time ago when I was in my 20s on a mission trip with the church. That was like my first exposure, and that really opened my eyes up and really started. I've been thinking about it for years, really, probably since I was about 26 years old. I've been thinking about moving out of the country. Just when I turn, when you turn 40, you just stop caring what people think and you just do whatever you want. So that's why I finally just said, you know what, I'm kind of done here in the West. So
Mm. Honestly, honestly, I think that part of for women in Western society, they can no longer pair bond, and that's something that we can
no,
clearly see. Yeah.
they can't. They can't. That's another thing about Filipino women is because they do still have the ability to pair bond. You can feel it when you're with them. They are like very clingy, and it's
Hmm.
not like in a bad way. That's just because they've pair bonded to you.
Hmm. You know, I will tell you right now, and I've talked about it. I think that on one hand, it's hard for a lot of guys that have not had a lot of relationships, not a lot of success. But I think that at the same time, when they go overseas and they find someone who's quality and genuine, it makes it much easier to pair bond with that person. Because honestly, I don't think promiscuity is good for men either. Do you agree with that?
Um, well, no, not excessively. I mean,
Yeah.
men are more capable of dealing with multiple relationships emotionally, but I wouldn't do it like all the time.
Yeah. Well, and
But
I
yes,
agree
I
with
think we're naturally more inclined to monogamy
yeah.
now in the modern day. I don't think it was always been that way. Like in the past, I think polygamy was a little bit more uh,
Yeah.
sought after. But now, yes, I think men are just happy with just one woman. As long as you have one good woman, you don't need multiple women. Most men.
I I agree. No, I absolutely agree with you on that. At 40, and I'll tell you, it's like when I lived overseas, I mean, within a year, and you know my story. Within a year, I was with hundreds of women, and I think that that I think that that I think that when a lot of guys don't realize the options that open up to them the moment they step outside of the U.S. And I'm sure that probably doesn't surprise you when you witness for yourself how attractive women are to you out of the U.S.
Yeah, no, I do think that men need to experience like multiple women just so they don't get hung up on one woman.
I agree, but I mean, do you think that a guy should have my kind of body count?
Uh, a man can have as many women as a high body count as he wants to. He's a man. That's just an individual choice.
Yes, but do you think a lot of guys can handle that?
Do I think? I'm sorry, you're getting robot voice again.
Okay, do you think a lot of guys can actually handle that?
No, I think they're too emotional to handle it,
Yeah.
which is something they need to like snap out of.
Yeah, I think that every guy should experience multiple women, but I don't think guys should be in the streets.
But that's why they can't handle it because they've never experienced it. So they always like they fall in love with that one woman, and also because they're thirsty. So when you're not getting it, obviously and then when you finally do get it, whichever woman gives it to you, then you think that's the one, and it's not. It's just. So that's why men need to have more sexual experiences so they can get all that stuff out of their system, and then they can know how to deal with a woman in a more mature manner, in a more like not so emotional.
You do see what's happening with some of these passport bros that are like they can't settle down. Like they go overseas and they just start traveling the world. They're hooking up
Yeah.
with like dozens of girls at a time.
Yeah, but like I said, it's every man has to live his own life. If that's the lifestyle he wants, I'm happy for him. I'm not judging. I support my passport brothers. Whatever whatever countries they want to go to, however many women they want to have. I'm just saying, as long as you're out of the West, I'm happy for you.
Okay. Do you think that you could sustain that type of lifestyle?
No, I'm too old and tired to sustain that. I'm telling you, when you come over here, it's no joke. You might still be young, but as much as you're going to be getting me, you might need some pharmaceutical assistance.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. I was talking to another guy that runs a Pastor Bro channel, and he said the same thing about that. He literally said that if you can't get it up, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, so I'm just saying the amount of you're not gonna, you're never gonna like, you're never gonna be in need of sex. You're never gonna be thirsty.
Never gonna be thirsty. I mean, like it really does sound like it can be too much sometimes.
It really can actually. Yeah, it can. So
Now, we're like, since you've been in the Philippines, where have you said you've gone to like the mall and so forth. Have you like, gone to the beaches with your Filipina and stuff like that?
no, because we're in the city, so there's not any beaches close by to us, and I haven't wanted to spend it since I'm on a budget. I haven't wanted to spend too much money with traveling. So we haven't really gone out too much. There are some places that I want to go to, some other cities around here. Manila's close by. Uh,
Okay.
Baguio is close to us. That's another city that I specifically wanted to go to because the weather is cooler because it's further up the mountains. And a lot of people talk about how cool the weather is over there. So I wanted to go vlog over there. Uh, it's like a bus ride away. Taking the bus is like $5 or something.
Hmm.
So, but now she's working and I'm trying to work online teaching English. So we're kind of focused on that.
Hmm. Okay, so let me ask a little bit about that. So, how many hours does she work? How often does she work?
Oh, it's like a regular 9 to 5, 8 hours, 40 hours a week. But it's a call center, so they have to work overnight. So that's why she's sleeping right now. So
Mhm. Okay, so she's working overnight, and so she's gone 40 hours she's gone 40 hours during the week.
mm,
Okay, how does that affect your relationship, or has it affected it at all?
I think it helps our relationship. I think we need, for me personally, every man's different, but I need some alone time. So I think it helps our relationship.
Okay, and before she leaves, does she prepare your breakfast or food?
Yes, she does. She absolutely, she will not leave without making food.
Okay, so you get all your meals basically.
Yes, she doesn't have to. This is another thing about Filipino women. Everything they do is in their culture. Like, so Western women think that we're over here like oppressing them and forcing them to cook and clean for us. I have never asked her to cook or clean. She just does it. All right, this is in their culture. That's the difference between the Western women, like the tradcons, or I call them tradcon cosplayers, is that they're pretending. If you have to pretend to be submissive, you're not submissive. Like it just comes natural to Filipino women. They're not pretending.
Let's talk a little bit about what it means for a woman to be submissive, because we hear about the submission of Filipino women, and it makes it sound like they're walkovers. How do they submit? What does it mean when a submits to Filipino woman submits to you?
Well, they put you first. I mean, they put all your needs first. So it's not like I'm standing over her like submit to me, woman. No, they just like they ask you like, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Everything revolves around her whole world revolves around you, and taking care of you and making sure that you're happy.
Do you plan on marrying this woman?
I don't know because I don't know if you heard about the laws are changing in the Philippines. They're going to legalize divorce, so that's not good.
I've heard about that. Have they actually passed it?
They haven't passed it, but it's only a matter of time. They're going to pass it. So, at least in my opinion, I believe they're going to pass it.
So this that's a big sticking point for me. Is it possible to live in the Philippines with a woman and not marry her? Because I know that's something that Filipinas really push for. So is it possible? Is it, will a lot of Filipinas go for it if you say, well, I want to be in a relationship with you, but I'm not going to marry you, and we may even have kids together, but I'm not going to marry you. Can that work in the Philippines?
Yes, most Filipinos are okay with cohabitation. I know there's a few, and very few, by the way, and usually those are the ones
No.
that are very religious or very westernized already, who are pushing for marriage. But most of them are okay with cohabitation.
So they'll cohabitate and have a kid with you.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be happy with that.
Now, I've there's actually a law in the Philippines I've heard about where if you're cohabitating with a Filipina and then you leave her, it's actually she can actually get you into some trouble because it's like a form of abandonment. Have you heard about that?
I haven't heard about that, but that's probably another one of those laws they don't enforce.
Okay.
I'm actually more concerned about the new divorce laws because there's a lot of stuff in this law that they're trying to pass that they're not talking about. They're just saying they're legalizing divorce, but what they're also legalizing is child support, alimony, and division of assets. So they're throwing
What?
all that in there. Yeah, it's actually very scary and we know that Filipino men don't have that much assets, so they're only going to enforce this law on foreigners if and when
Okay.
it goes through.
What are the chances do you think that this thing could actually go through?
I think it's a waiting game. They're going to keep uh, presenting the bill to the Senate until the Senate says yes. They're just going to keep nagging them until they say yes.
Hmm.
They've already said no like 3 times. They're just going to keep doing it over and over until they say yes.
So do you think that men coming from Western society now going to the Philippines should avoid marriage entirely then, with this considering this?
Well, that's going to be on an individual basis. I don't advocate marriage because I'm a you know man going my own way channel masculinity, so I'm never going to advocate for marriage. But if you are going to roll the dice, do it in the Philippines. You're safer here than anywhere else in regards to marriage.
Uh-huh. Now, your channel, you focus on fitness. Fitness. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I always wanted to have a fitness channel, so I finally just started one. Uh, that's just for my own personal fun, just to make fitness videos. And then, since I knew I was coming over here, and I was watching a lot of travel channels, so I wanted to incorporate the travel in my channel and also the manosphere, be a part of the manosphere. So just putting all those 3 things together, those are all my passions. So I just wanted to put all that on my channel. So that's what I do on my channel. We do fitness, we do travel, we do life, talk about life in the Philippines, and we talk about the manosphere and masculinity, and just trying to encourage men to be the man that God made them to be. Get free from the West and embrace your masculinity.
Hmm. When you're in the Philippines, do you feel like you can really express your masculinity there without anyone hampering on that?
Yes, you can. You can be as masculine as you want here. There's no lurk alarm in the gym. There's no alarm that's going to go off if you make too much noise lifting weights, you know. So you are free to be a man here.
Now, with the world shut down in 2020, and we had people that were wearing face coverings, and there was distancing. How has the Philippines recovered after that? I mean, is there still things like that happening in the Philippines, or are things pretty much basically back to normal?
No, it's back to normal. Other than like if you go to the hospital, they want you to wear a face mask, but they really don't enforce it. So everything's back to normal.
Okay, and outside of the hospital, if you go to the mall, no one's wearing those, right?
No, no. I mean, maybe the security guards sometimes, but like not really anyone's wearing masks anymore.
And there's no more enforcement. There's no more enforcement.
No, there's not.
Okay. So pretty much everything is almost back to pre 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, in terms of entering in the country, are there any requirements? Like, do you have to, do you have to be jabbed or not?
Not anymore. They actually just, I think before I got here, they had basically removed all those requirements. So you don't even have to take a COVID test before. The last requirement that they had was that you had to get tested 24 hours before your flight, and they removed that as well. So you don't even need to take a test anymore. You can just jump on the plane, come right over.
Wow. How does the return ticket work? So you have a return ticket, right?
Yes. Well, let me
Okay.
explain that for people who are gonna stay here. So I scheduled my ticket. Well, I used Expedia. My return flight is in February. If I don't need to return to the West, then I would just, I don't know, refund my ticket. But what you can do, because when you come here, you have to have a return ticket within 30 days.
Hmm.
So you can actually, there's a website you can go on where you can rent a ticket for like $15, and and then you use that as your return ticket when you show it to immigration when you get here.
You could rent a return ticket.
Yes.
How does that actually? Is it a valid return ticket?
Yeah, it's valid because you have to show it to the immigration.
And you can use it to actually return if you wanted to.
No, I don't think you can use it to actually return. It's just
Okay,
for
so
immigration.
it's not
It's just
it's a go
it's
ahead.
just for like, let's if you have your return, if you're staying longer than a month. So let's say you're going to return anyways, but the Philippines requires that you have a return ticket within 30 days. So if you're staying longer than 30 days, you have a return ticket. Maybe 60 days, 2 months later, you still need to show them that you have a return ticket within 30 days.
Okay, so you actually have an actual return ticket though.
Yes, I have a ticket for February. So
Okay,
if I have to go back and make money, then I'll go back for a few months and then I'll just come right back.
okay, but if you don't go back, then what are you going to do regarding that ticket?
I'll just refund it through Expedia. I think you can refund it like 24 hours before or something.
Okay, so once you're actually in the Philippines, you no longer once you come into the Philippines and you show your return ticket, if you decide to stay, you no longer need to always have an active return ticket.
No, that's just for your first, like, when that's just for when you get off the plane for first your first visa at the airport. Which, by the way, they didn't even check any of my paperwork. All they did was look at my passport, stamp it, and I was like out of the airport within minutes. Like within 10 minutes, I was off the plane and out of the airport. The immigration was like so fast.
That's very interesting. When I watched the Filipina P, she said that she was surprised at how speedy things were in the U.S. She described Filipino airports as kind of chaotic.
Well, that might be true in Manila and like other like Davao and Cebu, but Angeles City, because Angeles City is just like I said, it's kind of like a party city. So a lot of not really not that many people come here, not that many foreigners. A lot of people rather go to Manila or Cebu. So
When you say Angela is a party city, I mean, because for example, in Cancun is a party city in Mexico, but you have a lot of foreigners who go to Cancun. But you're saying not a lot of foreigners come to where you are, but it's a party city. Clarify.
well, they come, yeah, they just come just well, foreigners that want to stay here, they don't come to Angeles. They don't really live in Angeles because Angeles kind of has that bad reputation of being the party city because we have what they call Walking Street, which is just a street with bars and bar girls.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, guys will come here just to, you know, sleep with the bar girls and stuff. But it's not a place where foreigners come to like settle down. Not that many. So, in regards to
Now,
that, there's not a lot of foreigners living here. They're just vacationing here.
let's talk about STDs over there. So, for example, you meet your Filipina and you want to hook up. What do you have to worry about?
Well, I mean, Filipino women, if she's not a bar girl, they're not promiscuous. Like, it's almost like especially if she's still living with her parents.
Hmm.
There, it's not like in the West where it's kind of like celebrated to be promiscuous. Here, it's actually very shameful. So she would not even be able to be promiscuous if she wanted to because her parents would not allow it. Even though
Wow.
she's 26 years old, they still would not allow it. So
So a Filipino will hook up with a guy very quickly, but that's a guy that they're genuinely serious about. So they're not
yes,
actually going
exactly.
around just hooking up with random guys. If they do get together with a guy, go with a guy, it's someone that they actually believe that they want a genuine relationship with, and they're trying to hook them.
Yes, exactly. If you go on a date and she sleeps with you that night, by the next day she's gonna want you to go meet her parents.
Now, here's another thing. How do you handle that?
Well, you got to be honest. If you want to settle down, then settle down. Find a good girl and settle down. If you don't, you need to be honest with that girl because they are kind of naive in a sense that they do want to attract you and keep your attention, and they are hoping that they're going to have a relationship with you. So if you're not going to have a relationship with them, a long-term relationship, then you can just go get a bar girl. Like, don't play around with a nice girl.
Hmm. So you don't think that it's necessary to ask her for test results before you guys hook up or get
You,
serious?
no, you can take her if you want. You can take her to the clinic and get her checked if you want. Like,
Hmm. Do you think that's something that the average guy should do or needs to do? What's your personal opinion on that?
uh, I mean, I didn't do it with my girlfriend, and I've already been blood tested, so I'm clean. You just gotta like be wise, be smart about it. When you get here, you will know if you're with a good girl or you're not with a good girl. There'll be enough signs for you to kind of sort it out.
Now, the girl that you're with, she believes in Jesus. She's Catholic, right?
She's Christian. We go to a Christian church actually,
That's
like a
what I
Western.
was.
We go to a very Westernized Christian church.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. How often do you guys go to church?
religiously, like every Sunday.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty religious. I talk about my faith on my channel too as well.
My oh my. So you go to church on a regular basis, and I mean, is that something that a lot of guys would have to do if they went to the Philippines? Like, is there that expectation that you're going to go to church with her?
No, because sometimes her dad doesn't go to church with us. The men do whatever they want. So no, you don't have to. And honestly, we go to church because of me, not so much because like she wants to go too, but also because of my religious beliefs. So it's because I want to, not so much because she wants to.
You said Christian church. Which religion?
It's like non-denominational.
Okay. Very cool. Uh, I was just because I know that there's like different groups over there. I know there's the Catholics, the Seventh Day Adventist,
Yeah, there's
and
everything here. There's all the different Christian, I don't know, denominations here. That's another thing that I wanted to get away from in the West too, was the Christianity in the West is matriarchal, and so that's another thing that I was, trying to get away from. Just and it's starting to happen here too. Like the Christian churches are very Americanized here, and they have like a lot of female pastors and stuff like that. So it's starting to happen over here as well, with the Christian churches being matriarchal.
do you think that we're beginning to witness a shift that could potentially lead to the Philippines eventually becoming corrupted, and the women there becoming corrupted like the U.S. with the divorce laws and some of and these things? Do you think that that's something that's possible?
I think that the powers that be, because I don't believe that the Philippines is really the one trying to push this divorce law. I believe they're being pressured from outside the Western countries to push this divorce law. Um, so yeah, there is a power that's trying to change the Philippines, but it's just not going to work here because, like I said, Filipino women, they laugh at feminists, they respect men, they have such a enormous respect for men that it doesn't matter what the West does. Because if they were going to change, they would have changed already. They have the internet, they have Facebook, they have TikTok. If there was going to be a shift, it would have happened already.
is there public assistance in the Philippines the way that we have it in the United States, or
No,
anything
there is
similar?
that. That's another reason why there won't be a shift, because they don't have the government to depend on. They can't. The government is not the first husband. So, they simply wouldn't be able to make that kind of shift without the government becoming very supportive, which they're not. There's not a food stamps here. There's not child support yet. There's not I think there is some kind of government like health care, but it's just not the same as in the West.
Can you tell me about some of the challenges living in the Philippines?
Oh, challenges. Well, if you're a man, you're a real man, you shouldn't experience too many challenges here. And I have talked about the challenges on mine. Really, the challenges are just not. It's kind of embarrassing. The restroom situation is a little bit of a challenge for me. Like learning to use what's it called? The sprayer thing.
Oh, to wash your butt.
Yeah, as opposed to toilet paper. The fact that the entire restroom is the shower, so everything's wet all the time. Uh, Going to the restroom like somewhere else, like in public, is like in a public restroom is there's no toilet paper there either.
What?
Yeah,
Okay, so now this one that's very strange. So there's no toilet paper in public restrooms, and so you have to wash your butt there too.
yeah. They have like a little gun that sprays water.
And how do you dry?
You just air dry.
When
That's
you say
what
when you say air dry, I mean you don't actually
I
have
don't know.
you don't actually
There's
have
no,
like no air. It's just like basically you wash your butt and that's it.
and that's it. You just go. Just that's what I was like. One time I was using the restroom and like my clothes got wet, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. So
That is a bit of a question. That does make me wonder. Like, how the heck do? Because like if you think that after you wash your butt you're gonna dry it, so that makes me a little that is a head scratcher.
yeah, I still don't know how Filipinos do it. I literally have to get like completely naked. I was like, how do you wash yourself without getting your clothes wet? I don't understand. So
Ugh, all
that's
right,
my
so
challenge. That's my challenge. But other than that, I don't think there's not like there's no challenge here that as a man you can't handle. A lot of guys, a lot of foreigners are complaining about the heat. And I don't know, I'm from Texas, so it's like 111 degrees over there. So if I can handle the heat in Texas, the heat here is not as hot as Texas.
now now in terms of but it is warm all year round though.
Yeah,
Now, I mean, in terms of like opportunities for expats in making money overseas, what options do you think that are some good options for expats?
I think just teaching English online is probably the main one. Um, just find some kind of customer service job online, like a customer service representative or something, or an online assistant, virtual assistant.
Hmm.
Uh, it's going to have to be something online.
Teach English online. So, for example, how would that work for a foreigner?
So you can just get a little certification. There's so many different companies online that you can apply to. Most of them don't require, some of them don't require anything. Most of them just require a certification that you can get online for like $100, and it's like a 120-hour course you take. It doesn't take 120 hours. You can do it in like one day, and you get the certificate. The teaching English as a foreign language. It's like a TEFL. They also have another certificate called a TESOL, uh,
Mhm.
and then you can just start applying to these online. A lot of them are from China because it's like a lot of Chinese kids. Their parents want them to learn English, and they want them to learn English from a Westerner. So, and you don't have to speak Chinese. They want you to only speak English to their kids. Another
Hmm.
thing is that they actually prefer male teachers over female teachers in China for some reason. I don't know why they think men are better teachers than women. So
Hmm. Something someone left a comment in there, and in the chat, and I wasn't going to jump into this, but in terms of in terms of owning a business in China in the Philippines, are there any job prospects and business opportunities in the Philippines for foreigners? I know that some foreigners have successfully done this in the Philippines, but what's your view on that?
Yeah, I think there's lots of, if you really have enough money to start a business here, there is lots of opportunities for you to start a business here. You could start, well, you could just start like an Airbnb if you like buy like a small little house or something and just
Mhm.
expand on that. Um, you could start a store. Um, like I was thinking like starting, like a lot of the young people vape around here. So I was like, I think I'm gonna start selling vape because it's a lot of young people vaping over here. That looks like a good business, like a vape
Mhm.
shop. Um, I don't vape. I'm just saying I noticed that a lot of people vape over here.
Mhm. When I was living
Um,
overseas, I tried to start a business, and it went absolutely horrible for me, and I learned a lot. One, you should always have your own lawyer in place, and you should also do business market research and a bunch of other things. What would you do differently? How would you go about starting a business in terms of preparation and so forth?
well, first of all, I would. This is like another one of those areas where actually having a Filipina would help you a lot because you need her to help you navigate the country and the way things work around here. So if you're going to start a business, I would not start a business without a Filipina or someone that you can trust, that you know you can trust, and have them help you facilitate everything that you need in regards to starting your business so that you can avoid some of the pitfalls because they can help you find things for cheaper. Like if you go out by yourself, like if I go out to the store right now and try to buy like, I don't know, uh, a carton of eggs, they're going to charge me like 200 pesos. But if I go with my girlfriend, they're going to charge me like 150 pesos. And if you're starting a business, you're going to need things like on a more grander scale than a carton of eggs. So you're going to need someone who can really get you a good price for whatever you need. Someone who
I
knows what
got
the right price is. So,
you. I got you. Now I'm curious. With that divorce law coming into place, do you know if prenups will still be would be user value uh, enforceable there?
it looks like everything that they're doing with in regards to that divorce law is they're basically just copying and pasting the Western family court system. So
Hmm.
I'm going to say no, prenups are not going to work in the Philippines.
Wow.
And the scariest thing about that is the division of assets. Now, because in that bill, it specifically says that if you get divorced, you have to liquidate all your assets and divide it 50-50. Now, what does that mean for a foreigner? Let's say you live over here, you bought a house, so you have to sell your house here, but how far does that law stretch? Does that stretch all the way into your Western assets? Like maybe you still have a house in the West. Are you going to have to liquidate that too? Like that part of that bill is very dangerous. That's what concerns me the most is the liquidation of assets.
Hmm. So, do you think that that could potentially reduce the number of marriages between foreigners and Filipinos?
Oh, it's definitely going to reduce the marriages. This is going to be, in regards to marriage, it is going to kill marriage in the Philippines because the men that are coming over here, the passport bros, are coming over here because they already know these laws and they're paying attention to what's going on in the Philippines and the laws here. Like passport bros are smart enough to do their research, and so they're not going to get married over here. So it's going to kill marriage in the Philippines, which is going to be sad for the Filipino women because there's a lot of good women here who do want to get married, but
So it's actually going to have a very negative effect on the Filipinas then.
yeah, it is. They're just gonna have to settle for cohabitation. So the ones who really do want to get married,
I mean, there's that, and then for example,
and
there are guys who,
it's not that they're bad women. It's just that men aren't going to take the risk.
and now in regards to the number of guys that are going over there, because there are a lot of guys who are serious. They're not for the streets. They want to go and they actually want to find a woman to settle down with. So if that's such a serious risk, that could also potentially lead to, I would say, a number of guys choosing to go to other countries where they may not face those repercussions. What do you think about that?
Well, the Philippines is the only country in the world that doesn't have divorce. So where else are they going to go?
Well, the Philippines doesn't have divorce, but the Philippines does not have divorce. But for example, in Mexico, when you go to Mexico, there are two different ways. There's actually two different. Well, there's technically three, but you have a couple of different options when you get married. For example, you can have equal division of assets, or you can have no division of assets whatsoever. So those are some of the
Mhm.
choices you can make when you marry in Mexico, and it really varies by country. It really definitely varies by country. So, if it, it sounds like, just like you said, it's like copy and paste from the U.S. So even if uh, even if uh, even if those laws, even if other countries still, have divorce, it's not as rigid as it is in the U.S. and as rigid as it appears it's going to be in the Philippines.
Well, yeah, the Philippines is not the only country that passport bros are coming to. I mean, they're going all over the world. So if they do their research and they feel like they want to go somewhere else that's not the Philippines, then I encourage men to go wherever they want to go, as long as they're getting out of the West.
What do you think the future of the passport bro movement is going to actually be? So, speculate on how this movement might evolve in the future based on current trends.
Well, I'm actually concerned about the passport bros because I think that it's going to get so big that the West is going to have to do something to kind of slow it down or put a stop to it. And I think that's going to be another travel ban.
Really?
Yeah, that is my I don't know, that's my prophecy, my conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it. But I'm predicting another travel ban as passport bros grows bigger and bigger.
You said another travel ban. So, how exactly would this be enforced?
Well, obviously they can't. They're not going to just come out and say, "Oh, we're banning travel because too many guys are leaving." But I think it's going to have something to do with the wars going on around the world right now. They're just going to say, "Oh, it's just too dangerous to travel to that side of the world right now," so we're just going to temporarily ban travel. There are some government agencies that already declare the Philippines one of the most dangerous countries in the world, which is absolutely not true. So they're really trying to detour people from coming over here.
Hmm. Now, let's be very honest. With what's happening in Western society with Western men, do you think that would deter? Do you really think that's going to stop guys?
No, I think then what passport bros are going to have to do is because, like I've said before, those walls that they built, they're not to keep people out; they're to keep people in. So what they're going to be doing is going down, going to Mexico or Canada to get flights from there out of the West.
Very, 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 very interesting. Do you think that it could potentially become so bad that they might make it even difficult to even go into Mexico?
Yeah, that's what the walls are for. They're to keep the people in, not to keep them out. Because obviously
That's what you
you
meant
can,
literally. Wow.
I mean, you can see right now they don't care about keeping immigrants out. So why do they have the walls?
Keep people in. Oh my goodness. I never thought about it that they're boxing you into the country.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Because look, before it was a bunch of old guys who were retiring, who they couldn't afford to retire in the U.S. The U.S. couldn't afford to take care of them anyways, so they don't care if a bunch of old guys come over here who aren't contributing to society anymore, who aren't paying taxes anymore. But now, this new generation of passport bros, young guys, young entrepreneurs, business owners who are creating wealth, now they're taking all their money and leaving. And yeah, they're still going to have to pay taxes, but they're not going to be paying as much as they would have to if they were living in the States. They're not buying houses in the States. They're not buying cars in the States. All their money's over here. I mean, that's a lot of tax money. And then on top of that, you have to start, they're not making babies with Western women. So now you got all those men leaving and you don't even have a replacement generation coming. So what is the West going to do?
Now, we don't have a replace. Now that's really interesting because we don't have a replacement generation coming. So with that prospect, how will the West look in maybe 10 or 20 years versus overseas countries like the Philippines, and even continents like Africa, where the populations are younger and they're continually expanding. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, your country, it really all, the success of your country depends on your population and especially your men. And the countries that men are going to are the countries that are going to thrive, and the countries that men are leaving are the countries that are going to be desolate, because men are going to take their money, their creativity, their productivity, and they're going to start business. The same thing they would be doing in the West, starting businesses, they're going to do it in another country and make that country profitable and more successful as they make themselves profitable and more successful.
Hmm. You mentioned, and I'm going to backtrack a little bit regarding cultural adjustment. The bathroom and using having to use that spray. That's definitely a cultural adjustment. Were there any other cultural adjustments you had to make?
Not really, honestly. You have to get used to, as a Westerner. Oh, you have to be patient. You have to have a lot of patience. Well, not even a lot, just a little bit more than you would have in the West. I've seen a lot of foreigners here lose their patience over stupid stuff, like that stuff that wasn't even worth losing their patience over. So just be patient with the Filipino people, especially if you're like at at an establishment or you're at the immigration office. I've seen people get lose their patience at the immigration office, and I'm like, dude, like your immigration is in their hands. Like you should probably not be rude to them. So I would say be patient. Uh, it's a slightly different, like when it comes to paying your bills and things, you don't just like pay everything online. Sometimes you actually have to go. I have to go to the internet company and pay the bill there, and there might be a line you have to wait in. So just minor adjustments, like nothing too crazy.
I've heard that in the Philippines, and I got this from the Filipino P, that for example, in America, when we say things like there's a meeting, and a meeting's at 12 p.m., everyone's there on time. But it's different in the Philippines. Like things don't always go according to plan. They operate on a different time over there.
Yeah, there is like, I mean, I haven't had that experience with it. I've heard about the time thing. I just haven't experienced. I've always been able to do everything that I want to do at the time I want to do it. And, I make plans with other people and they show up on time. So I haven't experienced that, but I have heard about it. It just depends on the person, the individual, the Filipino person. Usually if it's like a more mature Filipino person, they'll be on time.
Are there any specific customs and traditions that foreigners need to know about and respect when they're in the Philippines?
Well, you do have to respect your elders over here. It is like a big thing to respect elders here. So you do have to, um, just acknowledge elderly people. Make sure you're being respectful to them. You know, giving them the right of way if you're driving or walking down the street. And then as you are an older person here in the Philippines, the kids will show you respect too. So one thing they'll do is like they'll grab your hand and they put it on their forehead. It's just like a cultural thing, like a respect thing.
Wow.
So the things you have to adjust to here are not bad things. It's actually, you have to get used to how well you're going to be treated here, because I know the Western men are so not used to the treatment that you get here. It does take some time to be like, wow, like I'm spoiled here. Like I'm spoiled rotten. So
Hmm.
you have to get used to letting people love you and take care of you. And that's sad that I even have to say that, but that's how bad the West is. That men don't even know how to let themselves be loved and taken care of.
Now, here's something for you. Can you really? Is it safe to, really trust the Filipinos? Because they're going to offer you food. Is it safe to trust them?
Um, I fully trust my girlfriend. I think I might be in a slightly unique situation. Like I got lucky, but most Filipinos girls are not bad. They genuinely just want to have a good man and take care of their man. So yeah, I mean, yeah, be cautious. Be cautious just as you would. If she's a good girl, she's gonna stay with you, even if you're testing her, even if you're, feeling her out, making sure she's not a bad girl. She's gonna pass all your tests. All right. So you can put her through the ringer if you want. Make sure she passed all the tests. leave some money on the table, see if it disappears. I don't know.
Are you planning to, explore that region of the world anymore? Are you just going to stay in the Philippines? So, for example, you plan on like maybe going over to Thailand, Laos, Japan, or what are your plans for that region?
I mean, if the channel is successful and I'm making enough money, then yeah, I kind of want to go back to Taiwan and just explore Taiwan. I think Taiwan doesn't get enough attention from foreigners or travelers or vloggers. Thailand obviously gets a lot of attention. Laos, yeah, I mean, I would love to travel more, but if and when I have the money to do it,
Isn't Taiwan a bit expensive?
I think it is expensive. Yeah, yeah. I was there. I was just in the airport there, and it was things looked pretty expensive there.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we covered a ton. Definitely we should do this again. I mean, I will.
Yeah,
Is there anything? Go ahead.
yeah. Let's do part two or something.
Or definitely. Is there anything that we did not cover that you wanted to mention that you wanted to mention?
I don't know if we. I know we recorded it when we were. I just wanted to reiterate about the because I know you've been making all the videos about the black women. Like black men are welcome here. My fellow black passport bros are welcome here. The women will love you and treat you well and take care of you. So if you want to come to the Philippines, come to the Philippines. Um, what else? Just get your passport. Even if you're not planning on traveling as a man, just get your passport just in case, because you never know.
Awesome.
A lot
Awesome.
of guys don't even have their passports yet. I didn't have my passport when I was watching, traveling Philippines videos, and you know, I got my passport in the process of planning my whole trip. So
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, guys, where can they find your channel?
MK Fitness in the Philippines. That is my channel.
All right, guys. There
We
will be
talk
a
about
link. Go ahead.
fitness, travel, life in the Philippines, and masculinity.
Awesome. Awesome. Guys, you can find a link to his channel in the description of the video. So go over there, check him out, subscribe if you want to see more of his adventures. You actually take people on a little journey with you. So you make videos. I've checked out some of your videos, and you can see your Filipina. You go shopping in different places, right?
Yeah, I'm always vlogging when I'm out and about walking around.
Awesome, awesome. So you guys can go and check that out. See how he's living over there, his experience, because definitely there's a lot to learn from that. Logan Manson said, "Subscribe." Awesome, guys. So definitely go and do that. So, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video, and just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Man, walking away and
And cheers.
I like that.